right, taking it down, scooping our tummy in as we roll one vertebra at a time, rolling down, placing the spine against the floor, almost as if you're molding your spine into the floor. We're going to adjust for neutral spine. I like doing that by bringing the knees in gently, just releasing that low back. And as you do that, we're scooping that tummy in. We're going to go straight to hundreds, arms stretching out. As you roll up the head and neck, keeping it strong, but the core is actually doing the work. So that means your tummy's doing the work, your hips, everything's engaged here, but your neck is actually relaxed. As you start to pump the arms, we're using our breath, 5 counts in and 5 counts out. I'm going to let you focus on your own breathing as you pump the arms and drive the energy through the belly, keeping the focus. With the heels pressed together gently, you're going to find the energy in the inner thighs working as well. That is all part of your core. That is all part of the focus of keeping the body working together as a whole component. Releasing down. If the neck is tender in any way, gently roll it to one side and to the other side just to release any tension. As you get stronger in your core, the neck won't hurt as much. So you'll see I'm focusing on my neutral spine again, just checking those pelvic bones, making sure that you have neutral spine. Remember, neutral is where the pelvic and the pubic bone are on the same plane. We've gone straight into roll-ups. And this is always about lengthening through the vertebra. Every time we do this movement, I want you to think about lengthening through each vertebra, but keeping the core or the belly button pulled towards the spine. That's going to stabilize that and keep it strong. Now you also want to keep the energy flowing from the top of your head down to your heel. We're going to focus now on stretching through the spine and once again engaging the tummy muscles. This is an important part of the exercise because we want to get to know what different exercises we're actually using. We're not using our neck to lift up. These are not neck exercises. In fact, every time you lift, I want you to be using your tummy muscles to pull you up. All right, so let's go into rolling like a ball. And as you can see, I've made myself into a roly-poly little ball, and we're just going to roll down and come back up, and we're going to focus on the internal muscles. So the pelvic floor, you're going to get to know your internal muscles very, very well. If you've already focused on your Kegel work, then you know that you're zipping up from the perineum and really working towards getting that internal muscular structure focused strong. I'm going to roll like a ball, scooping the tummy in, keeping it strong, and we're just going to mold that spine into the floor as we roll. If you find yourself popping, then the roundness that you've made of your spine may be a little bit weak. So what we want to do is we want to make that spine more pliable. That's actually one of the benefits of doing these movements, is having that more pliable spine. So we're working towards that by strengthening our internal core muscles and using that lift from the perineum. Remember when we did the Kegel work, we focus on lifting from the perineum or the sphincter muscles. Okay, so you're really focusing on the internal or pelvic floor muscles there. As we go into the leg circles here, the hips need to remain stable. You'll notice as my leg moves out, you can either keep it bent or keep it straight. Either one is fine. Bent first to get your stability, and then you work up towards the control. But you'll notice that your hips will try to rock over if you're not fully engaging the muscles that need to be engaged to do these leg circles. So we want to keep those hips stable and strong, and the only way to do that is to engage the core. So we're zipping our tummy muscles as if our belly button is pulling gently into our spine. We want to remember to breathe. It's really easy to forget to breathe, but that is something I want to keep happening. So I'm going to ask you to focus on the exhale, because I know you'll have to breathe in sometimes. So instead of worrying about, oh, when do I inhale, when do I exhale, Just make sure you're fully exhaling so that you can take a full breath in. Tiny circles here. And this is a great way to lubricate the joint at the hip. And we'll take a moment and release that out. Every exercise we do, we want to do it with perfect alignment. What I mean by perfect is that it's intentional and it's focused and that you're present with what you're doing. We're not doing a bunch of mindless exercises here. They are very purposeful. They are very focused, and you will see the results. Lengthened muscles, nice toned legs. So those circles are smaller, and then you can certainly choose to get bigger circles as you get more advanced. The most important thing is to ensure that you do not rock your hips or the hips start pulling you out of place. The tummy is engaged. Engaged just means that you are active. Those muscles are active. They are not lying there dormant. They're fully active, just all the way down to even to the toes. There's no part of the body that's lying limp or dead. Think about the whole body as one complete system, and everything is moving and flowing together. So as you'll see, the legs going across, so these are crossing over, doing half circles and then crossing over. This is your inner thigh work. So we'll lengthen it over. And I like to do 5 to 8 of those on each leg. Taking a moment, just stretching that out, releasing the low back. Good deep breaths. Neck and shoulders relaxed. If you notice any area of tightness in the body, consciously relax it. Consciously release any tension. So we're going to lengthen through that hip flexor, and you're going to notice as I lengthen my leg out, my back is not going to come up. So you want to watch that your back doesn't hyperextend or go into a bow. We're going to keep that back strong by keeping the internal muscles of the pelvic floor and the tummy engaged and nice and strong there. Okay, so shoulders and neck relaxed, and we're really focusing, zeroing in our energy onto our tummy. I like to lengthen through my toes as well. I don't need you to have your feet so pointed to where you get crampies in your feet. So just remember that your energy flows all the way out to your toes without straining anything. As you get more advanced, you can do more of those and speed them up, but don't feel like you have to rush through any of this. This is something that I do regularly, and you can enjoy the process. Taking a moment to connect and be present. Bring the hands behind the head, and we'll just do a little crisscross here. So again, we're focusing on that internal strength that we've got. You can either have your legs bent or you can extend them further. We're going to take that armpit to the opposite knee. We don't want your elbow coming across. We want to take that armpit. Okay, so you can actually get that armpit right to the midline, lengthening. I like to do little pulses, but you do not have to. You just really want to get that full connection of engagement. Hold, 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 hold. You're continuing to breathe, inhaling, exhaling. So as you speed up, your breath can be in, out, out. Good. So after you get through a few of those, your tummy is going to feel it. But everything's focused, everything's connected, and you are present with what you are doing. This is not anything you want to be doing mindlessly. Okay? It's not something that you get to check out and do grocery lists or shopping in your head. It's really that you need to be fully present and mindful of the movement that you're doing with your body. So adjusting there, you saw as I adjusted to neutral spine, I'm going to take this into a general bridge, rolling up, focused with the knees directly over the ankles. And I've engaged now the seat muscles. So your buttocks are going to do the work here, your hamstring, quadricep, and this lengthening position here and pulsing will fire up those booty muscles. There's not pressure in your shoulders or neck. because you're actually very, very active in your booty. So I'm kicking that leg and lengthening it, but I'm firing from my opposite or the left leg. So the right leg is kicking and extending. Think about if someone's pulling on your leg to lengthen it as you extend it, and your opposite butt is engaged and focused. So now with the right leg, we have the right buttock focused, hamstring strong, and there should be no pressure in that back. If there is, you need to fire the muscle of the butt more. Okay, so the glutes need to be firing here. When I say fire, I don't mean get rid of. I mean fire them, like use them like engines. This is a really important concept to understand. When you fire a muscle, you're going to use it as an engine and really put some power behind it. And that's what this exercise does. It's so beautiful, and this is one of the things that really makes an impact on lifting your buttocks and making them nice and toned and strong. Okay, I like being in the shoulder position. It's a nice gentle inversion. And what we're doing now is scooping the tummy out. It's very subtle, you can't see much of it, but I was scooping the tummy and keeping the neutral spine in that position to really fire the internal floor muscles of the pelvic floor there. And gently releasing that back. And gently stretching the hamstring, which you probably felt as you were doing the bridge work and the lengthening. So we're going to climb that tree and we're going to lengthen, 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 lengthen. Really try to extend through the muscles as you gently pull. We're not doing a lot of hanging or pulling. We're more of gently extending through those muscles to release the hamstring and focus on the whole body there, coming more alive, moving the energy through the body, focusing on the breath, relaxing the neck and the shoulders. Chin can gently tuck and then roll side to side just to release any tension in that neck. So we're going to do a little bit of a teaser here. So this is the work. When we start focusing on balance, this is wonderful for the brain. Any kind of balance work is wonderful for the brain. And we're focused here on the sit bones, slight roll, and then we're going to come back up. This is the seal. We're going to press those heels together. We're going to roll back and press over the head as well. So we're pressing, and really for this purpose, I like to call it activating the energy. When you do movement where your legs are above your head or you're inverted like I was in that position, this is actually very therapeutic for the brain to be inverted. It helps to balance the brain. So we like to do this. There are many benefits to doing these movements that are inverted. It's also more gentle to me than doing a general shoulder stand. So as you get more advanced and you like it and enjoy the shoulder stands or doing the plow in yoga or even headstands, you want to really get strong with this. There's many benefits to doing those teasers with the rollover and balance. So we're lengthening up, we're sitting up on our sit bones. We want to feel the lengthening, again, the pelvic floor pulled in. Even though we're not on the floor or our back's not on the floor, you should still feel the very active pelvic floor muscles pulling you forward. Imagine you have a barrel in front of you, and so instead of collapsing that back, you'll notice that my back stays very, very strong because I am activating those internal muscles of my tummy, of the pelvic floor, and lengthening through. I like extending the heels, through the heels a little bit more. As you get more flexible, you'll be able to keep the feet flexed. And imagine that you're just climbing back up against a wall and keeping that back nice and straight. So let's go ahead and Again, move the flesh and lengthen. So you want to be up on your sits bones, not on your tailbone in any way. So always really lengthen up and cross over. 2, 3, lift, inhaling. Here's an exhale, 2, 3, lift. I like to do the breath with that because we can do the breath out as we're extending and twisting. And we're still keeping that tummy engaged. We're not collapsing. You'll notice the difference if you feel like you're collapsing. It's just that those muscles are not doing their share of the work, or they are not quite developed, and they will be. I can pretty much guarantee if you continue to do these movements 2, 3, even 4 times a week, you're going to see the difference, and you will certainly feel the difference. So let's move on to the side series. And we'll lengthen out. You have the choice to lay all the way down with your head resting on your bicep, or you can come up and rest your head in your hand. And we are on our side, so we are laying actually on our hip forward slightly so that we're off the actual bone. We're on the fleshy part where we can stay nice and stable, engaging the pelvic floor once again, pulling the belly button into the spine, staying nice and strong. So we're going to flex to the front and lengthen, point to the back. Flex to the front, lengthen, point to the back. You're going to notice there's like a glass ceiling, that my leg is not going up or down from that point or that level. So I'm going to keep that there. And now we'll just lengthen back, bending in and extend, breathing in and out. Use that stability muscle, this combination of the stability of the pelvic floor all the way up and then all the way down. So your whole body is very active here, lengthening. Once again, imagine that someone's pulling on your leg right there. And as you lengthen to the front, pulling, lengthening, lengthening, lengthening. So in my class, this is where I would actually pull my client's leg so that they can feel that concept of stretching, but the hips don't move. And we'll do a little bit of hot potato. We're going to do heel to the front and heel to the back and heel to the front, heel to the... So what we're doing here is we've externally rotated the hip. So you'll notice that the rotation is from the hip, and you'll feel the seat muscles engage even more internally towards the mid and very low back, just below the sacrum. Those muscles that wrap there, and this is beautiful for helping stabilize the hips, the hip joints. And now we'll work on the inner thighs. We can take that top leg and hold it, and we can just lengthen through. Well, I didn't do very many of those, but now we'll do zipping it up and lengthening. Développer, extend, flexing down, extend and flexing down. Make sure you're not rolling back, keeping those hips in alignment. And then we'll just reverse that direction. Hips are stacked. This is still very much core work. That is how you're staying stable. The hand really shouldn't have any work going on. The arm's not doing work to stabilize you. It's all about that tummy. And then the legs do their work, their share of the work there. Okay, some kick ups. Kick, lengthen, extend. Love these. These are great for those hips. Extension, extension, extension. Remember, this does not happen overnight. I've been doing this for many, many, many years. And it's not something that happens overnight, but if you keep with it, you will see the improvement. 10 times we know we start to see the improvement. You will feel the improvement within just a few times. You will see quite a difference after 20 times. I mean, a very tangible, very significant difference just doing these moves right here. And okay, here we go. Now we're going to focus on the inner thigh. So the hips still remain stacked, and we're going to circle the bottom leg. And as you do, I want you to remember lengthening of that leg. So here is again where I would stand at the foot and I'd pull on your leg. But you would do the work to keep your tummy strong and everything stable while I lengthened your leg. And then you'd get the feeling of what you're trying to do, which is to lengthen the muscle around the bone. So we want the muscles to be long around the bone, not shortening them around the bone. Okay? So we're going to lift and lower, and we're going to extend through the ankles. So these are more movements that are wonderful for balancing the brain. So we have our healthy mind, and we're focusing on being present. This is body time. We need more of this. This is not something you do while watching another movie or doing other things. You want to give yourself the gift of being present with yourself when you do movements. Do movements that you enjoy and that you know are beneficial to you. Do not do things that you do not enjoy or that are not beneficial for you. You will find that you won't stick with it. So we're going to lengthen, and we're going to do the opposing arm and leg lengthening. Left arm, right leg. This is a great way to balance the right and left brain. And we'll go into a little swimmer. And here you're still working with the pelvic bones stable on the floor. You still have the core lengthening. All right, so we're going to stretch back. It looks like there, nice little stretch in child's pose. Good deep breaths here, relaxing the upper body, relaxing the shoulders, just release. Stabilizing those hips, pulling that tummy into the spine, stacking the hips, bringing them forward into a slight pike, lengthening, kicking forward, kicking back, flexing the foot, pointing the toe as it goes back. The hip or the leg does not rise above that certain glass ceiling, doesn't lower either, so you don't want it skimming or dropping to the floor. You want it to stay stable throughout that. So we lengthen forward and bend through the back. This is a beautiful one to open the hip flexor, and we reverse that. Now I'm just doing 3 here, I notice, but I will tell you if you can build up to 5, even 8 in my classes. We usually do at least 5. Okay. Hot potato, heel forward, heel back. And essentially you've done that external rotation. That external rotation is very important. Make sure your hips are stacked, and then you're just rotating from the hip with that external rotation, turning the toes out. Okay? Pulse, 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 and pulse are beating, pressing down gently and very active. Feel the base, so we're lengthening, lengthening, extend. Lengthen, lengthen, and extend, sweeping that leg in, and then reversing that direction. The core remains stable, neck relaxed. Your hand is not doing work to push you forward or back, it's staying stable. Okay, we're doing some kick-ups, and good. This time I'm doing a good, strong press down. So when you kick those up and you press down, it's almost like you're pressing a ball down, so we're not just throwing it away. And big circling of the barrel. Circle the barrel. So there's really only 5 or 6 outer thigh or side leg movements that we do regularly, and I will repeat these. This is again the same routine I've been doing for over 25 years. It is a fabulous routine. I do not get bored with it. I do get stronger, and you'll notice that as well. So the inner thigh, circling, hips are stacked. It's a great way to reset the body. I noticed that these movements, and then also the full Yogilachi process, really is a great way to reset the body during the day, during the week. Reverse the direction. Remember, you're lengthening through the leg, extending through the leg, all the way through the leg. So it's not just lifting and contracting, it's actually lifting and extending as you contract that muscle. Okay. So making a box now. Okay, so these are good too. We're going to do the box. There's another option here. We can also lift and point and flex, and that also is great function for the brain. These drawing of a box, sometimes I'll do drawing of rectangle and circle and triangle, because the shapes, it kind of breaks up the monotony of doing those inner thigh movements. Rolling over onto the tummy, let's see if those pelvic bones are in alignment. And we're going to focus on the booty a little bit here. So let's press those heels together. And we're going to lift. We don't have to have our knees totally touching, but sooner or later you're going to work towards that and see if you can get everything active in those legs, bringing the knees together and the heels together. But at first, you may just find that you can only get your heels together, but I want you to practice that. The pelvic area is staying neutral, so you do not want to be hyperextending that back in any way. Lengthening, focusing on that lengthening. We're keeping the knees off the floor as we press, 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 press and press, press. Almost like bounces, but they're not mindless bounces. They are very focused. So it's an actual stop in between. Even though it's a bounce, bounce, it's more press, press, very active. And we're going to pulse back up, pulse, 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 lengthening, lifting, and extending. Right. Do another child's pose and stretch that out. On the shoulder blades, and I like to call these our angel wings, and this is significant in helping with our posture. So we want to be able to differentiate between the muscles, the scapula, and the shoulders and the arms, and we want to be able to separate each movement out. So this is not a push-up, this is specifically working those angel wing muscles. They're the scapula. Now you're going to see the full push-up, but I am active in my arms with my scapula in place instead of letting my head come forward and look like a turtle sticking forward. So notice that the head is pushing a little bit forward. I would correct that and have my head be a little bit more in alignment with my spine. And it looks like my upper body is a little bit weaker than my lower body, and that's the truth because I like working my lower body. So I don't spend the time I need on my upper body and getting it stronger, but I'd like for you to focus on keeping that head in alignment as you do the push-up, while also keeping the scapula and the shoulders in alignment. All right, looks like we're going to do the 7 series. So we've brought that leg forward. It looks like a king dove position in yoga, but we're going to open the foot. So the foot is relaxed. You want to be able to see your foot behind you if you look over your opposite shoulder. And notice now I'm just lifting my foot. So this is going to activate the muscles in the hips. Some new muscles you may not be aware of at first, but you will soon get to know these lovely muscles. They make the difference between flat booties and nice, beautiful, round booties. It gives you a nice lift. So we're going to lift the foot, and then the knee, and then down and down, and really focus on using the hips, keeping them strong and forward. Definitely come down to your elbows if you need to. If you're not able to even get your foot up on the first few times, it's definitely possible that you can't even get your foot or knee up first or second or even third tries. But you're going to want to get the feeling of what it is and activate the muscle, even if the knee or foot does not come off the ground. We would definitely do more of those in a class, so please be aware of that you can do more as you continue these processes and these exercises. You can definitely do a good 10 or 2 or 3 sets of 8. And notice how I've crossed over to stretch that outer thigh. That is definitely something you will enjoy after doing those movements. So extending, this is good, we can see it from the other side. So notice how my legs go. My leg goes behind me, my hips are still forward and my weight is not collapsed on my hands. I like to call my hands making bird's nests. You have little bird nests under your hands, so you're not going to crush your birdie eggs. So you keep your hands active, and then lift the foot knee, down and down, lift, down and down. It looks like I'm using a little bit more of my upper body. You can see that as you get stronger and you have focus, you will not have so much extra momentum coming from your body. But see, as you come down and put your arms down on the ground, that helps stabilize a little bit more. Okay, so we're lifting and we're using that outer thigh. Okay, back is nice and straight, and we get that outer thigh stretch. Remember, on these stretches, your hips are both on the floor, so your sit bones are both on the floor. You're not pulling one off. Both are on the floor. Okay. So let's see what we're going to do now. We're going to, looks like a little butterfly. Back is straight. You're up on your sits bones. Taking a deep breath in. Gentle flutters. And let's come forward and press the inner thighs out. Finishing up with some stretches here. And we'll lengthen over. And notice that everything you do is about lengthening. Lengthening from your core, even lengthening out from your arm all the way to your fingertips. And with that awareness, you'll notice that you become more aware of every part of your body, down to your even the littlest pinky toe. And that's a good thing. I want you to become more and more aware of your body and be more and more in communication with every part of your body, even those parts that we tend to neglect, because after all, it is all part of the whole. And as each part of the whole is doing better, then the whole is that much better. All right, peace and blessings. I like to end with that. It looks like I'm going to go into Savasana and rest on the back. Oh no, I'm going to stretch my hips. That's a great one. That's probably something we need right now, to stretch those hips. Knee is open. Going to use that elbow to press gently. And we'll switch to the other side. I am sure if you've completed all of these exercises, you actually feel better. Maybe you don't feel like you sweated a marathon, and to me that's a good thing. But you should feel longer, more in tune with your body, more aware. We're going to stretch the quads. That's great. So reaching behind gently, and again being aware of how you move with your body. So we're not collapsing in. We're very conscious of every movement, of every little nuance and movement as we go through here. Oh yeah, a little preparation of the swan. Very gentle. Like that. That's nice. Releasing that neck. And I love this for the cobra, especially if you sit a lot. This is such a great counter to all of that sitting, so that the spine and the jelly-like material between each disc actually is able to be pushed back into place. I would have preferred to stay in that swan and that cobra a little bit longer. I'm going to do the child's pose and release that out. And